Another very important skill in Photoshop is to be able to adjust the tonal range of a photograph. When I say adjusting the tonal range, I'm essentially saying this is the way to adjust the brightness and contrast of an image. Let's take a look at the photograph that we've been seeing in the past few tutorials. If we look at this image, the contrast and tonality of it looks pretty good. But let's take a look at it in its original form. In the capture, in the camera, this is what the image looked like. It was pretty dark. The whites were closer to gray than actually white. And the middle tones, which would be their faces, are significantly dark. Photoshop allows us to lighten these up. And throughout the semester, you're going to learn many different ways to modify the tonal levels in your photograph. The first way I'm going to show you is probably not the best way, and in fact is not the best way. However, it'll give you a basic understanding of how we can work with tonality through the different functions that we have available to us in Photoshop. So for this image, we are going to go under Image, Adjustments, and we are going to select Levels. Note I have not selected Brightness Contrast. At no point should you use the Brightness Contrast method of correcting tonality in a photograph. The way I'm showing you is the best way, whether we are doing it straight on the image or in a more advanced technique using layers that you'll be introduced to in the following weeks. So I'm going to select Levels here, and you'll note a little graph comes up, or something that looks like a mountain range. This is known as a histogram, and on this histogram we have a representation of where the tones in our images fall. So to the left here we have all the dark tones in the photograph. So if we wanted to modify the dark tones of the photograph, we would take this tiny small triangle underneath the graph, or the mountain range here as you'll have it, and as you push it to the center, you'll note only the darks in this photograph get darker. The brights, or the white areas, do not change. Similarly, when we use the triangle or the slider to the right, you'll notice the whites change, but the blacks do not change. And then finally, in the middle, we have what's known as the midpoint slider, or mid-tone slider, or some people even call it the gray slider. So we'll take that, and as we push it to the left, wow, all of a sudden the tonality of their faces comes right out and actually looks quite bright. So our first adjustment here that we'll make on this image is an adjustment correcting those mid-tones, or those middle grays, and we're going to brighten them up. So we'll do something like that, and I will hit OK.